A new bill is being proposed to help Connecticut homeowners who've been dealing with crumbling foundations for years now.
Joining us now live to talk about this bipartisan and bicameral bill is Congressman Joe Courtney. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you. I really appreciate you taking this on, Ben.
You bet.
Absolutely. Let's talk about these homeowners that you've met. What are they dealing with, and why has this been so important for you to help them in Washington?
So in north central Connecticut and eastern Connecticut, the problem of bad congregate, which was used in a concrete formation at a quarry up in Willington, Connecticut, continues to haunt the region. At this point, Connecticut's made great strides in terms of helping homeowners with funding through the Healthy Homes Fund that the legislature and the governor have really stepped up in a big way. However, for a lot of these homes, a lot of the related costs that go into, lifting a home, eliminating the foundation and replacing it is not covered by the Healthy Home Fund. And what my bill and my colleague's bill would do is basically reestablish and restore the property casualty loss deduction, which has been in the IRS code for decades up until 2017. When the Trump tax law eliminated that provision. That stranded a lot of these homeowners in terms of their ability to write off these uninsured losses that can be in the tens of thousands of dollars. And what this bill would do is to restore the casualty loss deduction moving forward so that, again, homes that are still undergoing repairs, and frankly, this is going to go on for years. We know that in terms of, the tracking of this by the Connecticut Captive Insurance Company, as well as the Department of Housing, all the stakeholders that are in this space. So again, we had, good response in terms of members from other parts of the country who deal with some of these casualty losses that, again, were excluded by the 2017 law. It's bipartisan, as Ben said. Congressman Mike Rogers from Alabama, Republican Dan Crenshaw from Florida are co-sponsors with the bill. Both of our senators in Connecticut, as well as Senator Cassidy, a Republican from Louisiana, are introducing it this week. And we think that there's going to be some vehicles in terms of tax policy legislation that's going to be coming up later in this Congress. And we're just really trying to, again, put the spotlight on the fact that this change that took place in 2017 really caused a lot of financial harm to homeowners in the past could have gotten the benefit of writing off these losses.
Congressman, for people watching, obviously we here in Connecticut have been hearing about these crumbling foundations for years now. We know how big of an issue it is for these homeowners. It's going to continue on for years to come, like you said. With weather patterns changing nationally, we're seeing it here in Connecticut with this flooding this past weekend. What other types of issues for homeowners might be covered under this bill if it does get passed?
Well, that's a great question, Ben, because the reason why people in regions of the country that have no contact with pyrite bad foundations are stepping forward is that there's a lot of casualty losses that occur that are not in the context of a presidential disaster declaration. This is particularly true in Florida, where the property casualty insurance market is almost vanishing. So there are a lot of very exposed homes in that part of the country where people are suffering losses that they can't get help through FEMA. And again, having the tax code as a way to defray these costs, which again historically had been around for decades, is really a very valuable tax provision. And as I said, there are wildfires out in California, again, which I think a lot of experts realize is also climate change driven, like the events that you described, Ben. And again, they don't get the benefit of a presidential disaster declaration. So again, I think the negative effect of this tax change that happened in 2017 is now really apparent to people. And that's, in my opinion, how you build a coalition to get to a majority in both houses.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman Courtney. We appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Congressman. All right, more to come here.